I'm about to visit 6 different cities over the next 4 months, so it's a perfect time to give an update on what's in my wallet, which is already catered towards travel, plus show you what's in my travel specific wallet and why I've chosen each card. All at maximizing rewards and credit card benefits for some incredible travel experiences. First up, in the main wallet, which has seen a new card in the rotation this quarter, earning me a whopping 5% back in select categories I spend a fair amount in, like Amazon, hotels, and restaurants, up to $1,500 to spend this quarter, and that's with my Chase Freedom Flex card. Not every quarter fits my spending lifestyle, but so far this year, including Q1 having grocery stores, has been quite good. And in my opinion is one of the easiest ways to earn lots of Chase points during these periods. Because remember, although these cards are marketed as cash back cards, you're actually getting points instead. So instead of 5% back, you're getting 5 times Chase points. But hold up, what's even better is that outside of these bonus categories, the card itself already has pretty solid ones like giving you 5 times points for travel booked through the portal, 3 times at restaurants, and 3 times at drugstores. Which means if you're spending at restaurants, you're earning a whopping 7 times points for every dollar spent. 1 base plus 4 bonus plus 2 more from the original category. And then similarly getting 9 times points per dollar when booking hotels through the Chase portal. And because with the way I redeem points, where I give a conservative 2 cents per point in value, that's like getting 10% back in value for Amazon purchases, 14% back in value for restaurants, and a huge 18% back in value when booking hotels through their portal. That means front-loading some things on Amazon that I would have bought in later quarters, or picking up the bill at restaurants and then dealing with Venmo with a group later. Yes, it's only $1,500 of spend for those 5x categories, but I also have the basic Chase Freedom card, which has the same 5 times quarterly categories with its own $1,500 limit. It's a card that you can't apply directly for now, but is a good option if you want a product change from one of Chase's other cards, which is what I did when product changing down from my old Chase Sapphire Preferred card. And so between the 2 cards, I'll have $3,000 where I can earn those ultra elevated multipliers on those categories, but you just have to remember to go in and activate it first. Alright, card number 2 is a longtime staple I've had since moving to the US in 2017 with the old design, and that's with the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. Usually this would be my go-to dining card with its 3 times points on restaurant spend, but for this quarter it's actually being replaced by my Chase Freedom Flex card given its elevated bonus category, but just here in the US. Because the main difference here is that the Sapphire Preferred card does not charge a foreign transaction fee. Meaning whenever I go traveling, say a weekend trip in Canada or the upcoming international trips, I can use this card and not pay a cent in extra fees. Whereas on the Freedom card, I would get charged that extra 3%, which would negate the extra rewards. That said, the reason why this card has been such a staple is because compared to all the other ecosystems where I have cards in, Chase is by far the best with its transfer partners, having my favorite Aeroplan to Flying Blue and Virgin to probably the best hotel chain when it comes to rewards, World of Hyatt. All of which allow me to set that conservative 2 cents per point value, although historically I've been getting 3 to 5 cents per point. I've documented all of my redemptions in videos here on this channel, primarily through Aeroplan booking flights to Singapore, Japan, and Korea, but I've actually booked yet another trip next year to Taiwan and Thailand using Flying Blue. If you're interested in the full walkthrough, including finding the routes, searching for availability, transferring the points, and actually booking it, let me know down in the comments. But essentially, we were able to find 5 business class seats flying China Airlines from Vancouver over to Taipei for just 83,500 Flying Blue miles, which works because Flying Blue, KLM, or Air France is part of SkyTeam, which China Airlines is also part of. On top of that, Chase regularly has transfer bonuses to some of these partners, including Flying Blue, which recently had a 20% boost, meaning instead of 83,500 points, we only needed 69,584 per person in order to book this flight that would have costed $2,160 each way, where when accounting for the $100 worth of fees gives us a value of 2.96 cents per point. Not the most amazing redemption out there, but finding 5 business class seats in a time frame that worked for all of us sealed the deal. And speaking of traveling, it's also the card I use to pay these fees on my award redemptions, because unlike some other cards that require you to pay the full fare with the card in order to activate the travel protections, with the Sapphire Preferred you just need to pay part of the fare, in this case the fees for this award redemption, and then get the coverage for that peace of mind. And so between the Sapphire Preferred, the Chase Freedom cards, and my Ink business cards, they form a powerful setup of cards that earn me a ton of Chase points while unlocking these higher value redemptions. Okay, enough about Chase, let's move on to the next card that's had a spot in my wallet since getting it in 2021, and that's of course the Capital One Venture X card. For most people, even if you travel just a little bit, this is my recommendation if you want that entry into the premium travel credit card space. And that's because of a few reasons. One, it usually pays for itself, with this $395 annual fee being offset by the annual $300 travel credit when booking through their portal and 10,000 miles each anniversary year. With an extensive list of transfer partners, my personal take with Capital One miles is a similar 2 cents per point in value, meaning those 10,000 miles is $200 of value, totaling $500 of value that offsets the $395 year after year. And 2, it offers a good range of travel benefits, like Hearst President Circle, which gives you the highest level status with them for perks when renting cars, or lounge access, including their own Capital One lounges they're starting to build out, which looks wonderful. Really hoping I can visit one soon. As well as Plaza Premium and Priority Pass with guests, which will cover pretty much any major airport you visit. I know I'll definitely be making use of these benefits over the traveling the next few months, especially when it comes to a bigger group, given the Priority Pass on this card gives you unlimited guests. So that's why this card is so powerful when it comes to travel and giving you positive value year after year. But I also like it because of its multipliers. From time to time, I do end up booking travel with cash, and when I do, I tend to use the Capital One travel portal, given they usually have the same prices as Google, if not sometimes even better. And when booking through their portal, I'll also earn 10 times miles for hotels and car rentals, as well as 5 times miles when booking flights. Again, at 2 cents per point, that's like getting 20% and 10% back in value when booking those ways. And on top of all of that, this card is still a great staple because it's giving me 2 times miles on all my purchases with no category restrictions and no spending limits. It's my catch-all card for spend that doesn't fall into any special categories on my other cards, and at 2 cents per point, it's like giving me 4% back in value. I'm also pretty low on Capital One miles right now, given I've recently used a lot, so it's a great way to replenish and diversify, especially when you never know which ecosystem will have transfer bonuses to the programs that you want to book with. Now, a quick note about traveling specifically to Japan. All of the cards we've talked about so far are Visa cards, and that's great because I think adoption is quite good. But you also want to look out for discounts when using Visa cards. For example, take Big Camera, a major chain in Japan, offering you 5% off just by using your Visa card. That's actually where I got my Seiko 5 Sports GMT watch when traveling to Japan last year. Stacking the great exchange rate, the tax refund, and 5% off makes for some great value. That said, it's always good to have diversity, which is why the next card in my main wallet is actually from American Express, initially with the Business Gold given I was working on the welcome bonus, but now swapping it back to the Amex Green card primarily for its 3 times points when booking for travel, which is higher than the 2 times I get on my Sapphire Preferred. And because I also value Amex points at 2 cents per point, the value is still there. There's also the $100 Lounge Buddy credit, which I could use if it ever comes to it, but honestly never have. And so the Amex Green card is a card I'm thinking about canceling, but just haven't yet. In its place would be a future new card that I'll probably be working on the minimum spend for. And then of course I have my Schwab debit card where I can load money before my trip in order to withdraw cash at any ATM, knowing I'll have all of my fees reimbursed. And then a Costco card because you never know when you want that $1.50 hot dog. But really, I think we may visit the Costco in Korea and Japan, given we've seen some of the hauls online and there's some great stuff there, like great sushi in the Japan ones or great skincare in the Korea ones. So those are all of the cards that are currently in my main wallet. And because I sometimes get these comments, this is a Saint Laurent zipper wallet, which has been pretty good, holds a good number of cards, and a zipper slot for cash and some other things. I've had it for a while and it's been holding up quite well, so I would recommend. Although that's in contrast with this flimsy wallet, which I carry around when traveling, because these are the cards that will come in handy during trips, but maybe not day to day. The first of which is my trusty American Express Platinum card. I said it once and I'll say it again, this card is horrible when it comes to day-to-day spend. You pretty much only get higher multipliers when spending on travel, but if I'm booking travel, I'm usually at home in front of my computer anyways, so I can just have this card in the drawer or my binder. Same goes for when I'm using the credits to help offset the $6.95 in annual fees for the card. For the Uber credit, it's loaded onto my account. For the hotel credit, again, I'm booking through the portal anyways. For the airline fee credit, again, I'm in front of my computer. And then the $100 Saks Fifth Avenue, I tend to like browsing on the computer as well. However, when it comes to traveling, I like to bring it with me for a few reasons. One, the concierge. You never know when you may need help booking something. For example, one time I think we had them search for and book a restaurant in Japan because they only spoke Japanese. And because Amex has a local team there, they were able to help us out. Two, if I'm ever attending events, having the card could give me special access to certain venues, like the Crypto.com Arena in LA or the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And then third, lounges. As the card that gives me the widest variety of access to lounges, I have to have it with me when I travel. Take my local SeaTac airport. I can get access to most of the lounges with this card. It'll get me into the Centurion Lounge, which is spacious and has unique elements like a coffee and smoothie bar, as well as access to all the other ones around the world. There's also the Delta Sky Club at SeaTac, a lounge I still need to visit, but will require me to fly Delta in order to get access. And then of course, Priority Pass and Plaza Premium lounges, which will give me access to over 1,000 lounges around the world, where pretty much any airport I've been to had a lounge in this network. Even in the small cities in Malaysia I went last year. But speaking of lounges, the next card I bring in my dedicated travel wallet is actually my Priority Pass card. Not this one, but actually this one. They look the same, but they're actually different. You see, this one here is from my American Express Platinum card, which will give me access for myself and 2 guests. However, this one is from my Venture X card, where that Priority Pass will give me access for myself and unlimited guests. Also, I think it wasn't until recently where there was a digital version of the card, because I remember having to sign up, get mailed the card, and activate it right before my travels. But technically nowadays you can just show them the barcode on your phone, but I'm used to just keeping one around with me in my travel wallet just in case. While we're on the topic of lounges though, it might be good to have multiple cards that give you lounge access, like both my American Express Platinum card and the Venture X. And that's because if you're going with groups bigger than 3, you're able to use more than one card to get access for the whole group. For example, last year when I was trying to get into the Plaza Premium Lounge in Vancouver, I initially thought I could only bring in 2 guests, but they saw both of my cards and said you can actually use the perk on both cards to get access for the 5 people. So now I make sure to have multiple cards if I'm going with bigger groups. Alright, next card is actually either the Chase Freedom or Freedom Flex cards, depending on which one I have in my main wallet. If I have the basic one in my wallet, then I'll bring my Freedom Flex card with me in my travel wallet. And that's because although I use them for the same purpose, with the 5 times points in quarterly categories, one is a Visa card and one is a MasterCard. And so just in case a merchant will take one but not the other, I make sure to have a diverse set of cards from MasterCard, Visa, and American Express. And then of course I gotta bring my passport. Yes, I'm Canadian and this is the new one I got renewed, which replaces the old design here. On top of that, I'll always bring my Nexus card when I'm traveling, given it'll have TSA pre-check and global entry, where I can have the faster lanes at airports, not having to take off my shoes and belt, or even faster lanes when driving across the border to Canada and back. It's also an official ID, which is always great, and I know that because it was the card I used to travel back and forth from Canada when my passport was being renewed. And so this is the setup I use to make sure I'm earning the maximum number of points when I'm traveling, while also having all of the cards I need to take advantage of benefits like lounge access. I'll keep my main wallet with me at all times, and then either have the travel wallet with me or maybe in my backpack. Now, this is during the trip, but what about finding and booking these trips in the the first place? Well, for a complete rundown on exactly how I found and booked some of my recent trips, I'll see you over in this video.